Hey guys, what's going on? AngryLarry here with the Armbar Extreme Rules 2016 recap and my overall assessment of the show. I recorded earlier today the breaking news of SmackDown going live and the roster being split. I record these recap shows of pay-per-views or live event specials delayed and not the night of because I like to see what happens on Raw first. I like some news to roll in, and I like there to be some sense of a direction to talk about other than blindly making stuff up and being, not that I'm afraid to be totally wrong, but for the sake of people who are listening to this, they may listen to it after Raw, and then everything I say is completely invalidated by that night's TV. So it is Wednesday that I am taping this, but there's still a lot of things stemming from the fallout of Extreme Rules, so let's get into it. The show opened up with the Dudleys claiming that they were more extreme than the whole WWE roster combined, and that's probably true. Out comes Big Cass, though, to confront them and to take them both out. Now, I want to take this point in time to apologize. I was wrong, and I don't say this a lot. I did not think Big Cass was as good as he is, especially with the microphone. Now, Enzo Amore getting hurt, and if you watched Raw, he's back. It's not a secret or a surprise. He's back in action. Bumping and all that. He's looks to be legit cleared to do all things, else he wouldn't have been out there. But it's a blessing in disguise that he got hurt because the microphone went into Big Cass's hands. And he ran with it. He's good. And the fans eat up every little thing he does. And they eat up everything Enzo Amore does. And while they were not my favorite team in NXT, they made their mark on the main roster. And I'm totally wrong on this one. So apologies to everybody except for the Duke. I'm not even going to acknowledge saying I'm sorry to him for believing in them when I didn't. He won't listen to this anyway. Don't worry. But on to the rest of the pre-show. Baron Corbin defeated Dolph Ziggler in a no disqualification match after a low blow. Now, is it just me, or does everyone else get worried every time Dolph Ziggler loses that he's going to get buried? This is like, it's like a meme at this point, that anytime Ziggler loses, he gets buried. I personally feel like every time I watch Ziggler lose in a match, that might be the last match I see of him, at least for a while. I always get this feeling that he's going away and may not reappear for 1, 2, 3 years down the line. And while that can still happen, the brand split that's coming gives me new hope of Ziggler being a world, not even like an Intercontinental or US title contender again, but a world title again. The guy's great. I mean, his only knock is that he sells too much. So then he's asked to sell more and put more guys over. And I think it's a necessity for the business. But if you're a Ziggler fan like I am, it's heartbreaking to see this each and every week, each and every month. So I don't know if it's on my own personal feeling or if you guys feel like that as well. That when Ziggler gets on these losing streaks and losing feuds and stuff, that it's just more of the same and we're eventually not going to see him again. But let me know if you guys think the same or you think differently or where you think Ziggler should be in the roster, in the hierarchy of things. Moving on to the main show, Anderson and Gallows opened up by defeating the Usos. Now, this was an okay match, but I've seen it before. They've had many matches since Gallows and Anderson debuted in six-man tags or singles or tag team matches or just brawls on the outside, interfering and stuff like that. It's more of the same, and I can't get into it when it happens like this. And unfortunately, it was one of those matches where I just kept getting up and walked away from the TV and made myself a snack or, went to the bathroom and stuff like that. It's no knock on these guys. It's a knock on just seeing it all before. And I knew nothing was going to happen within this match, but with these guys in the main event instead. And this was just a match to prolong the effectiveness of the main storyline with the world title is basically all it was. But again, nothing against the guys. I just knew that I wasn't getting a payday. I wasn't getting a payoff there. Unless the Usos left in an ambulance. But even then, during the main event, they would have came back in the ambulance. So there was nothing for me to be fooled by here, and it just was more of the same, basically. Now, here's a match I take issue with again. I have a lot of pet peeves, and they seem to all be on the surface right now. This one involves wrestlers working an injury angle within their match. The whole fact that we can't have wrestlers beat other wrestlers on merit or destroy other wrestlers unless there's an injury, and we have to play to the injury, like Kalisto's leg or back or concussion or head or whatever they were really trying to do here. The referee and the doctor got involved, and the referee was trying to get Rusev into the corner and stop the match, and or pause the match while they attended to Kalisto. Whatever. It's wrestling. It's fighting. It's a combat sport, so to speak. Since when is a match allowed to be timed out to attend to a wrestler? Now, I understand if it was legitimate, that's one thing. But they've been playing this Kalisto thing up for weeks, even teasing that this match wouldn't even happen, and alluding to going to the website for more details and stuff like that. But Rusev destroyed him. He disregarded the referee. He put him in the accolade, and he won the title. Now it's great that he has the title. So let's let him run with it. Let's let challenges come to him, like an irate Sheamus or maybe a face Alberto Del Rio. I guess the popular opinion is that Cena is going to challenge him on Memorial Day as, like, you know, Captain America defending the United States for the United States title, and that could happen. We've seen that before, though, last year. You know, between WrestleMania, I think WrestleMania was the first match, and then Payback and Extreme Rules after it as well. Let's have something different here. Let's have other people step to the plate and challenge Rusev. Let's have multiple challengers. Let's not drag this on with one-on-one for like 6 months. But saying I don't want to drag it on and saying I want to move on, I heard that Kalisto is getting a female companion to go to ringside with him to combat Lana. So we might have Kalisto Rusev for another 2 months with Lana opposed by another female in Kalisto's corner, which, if we look on the main roster, it could be Alicia Fox or Rosa Mendez if any of them are still employed by Friday. Because I heard that the rumors are still there that Friday there's going to be more layoffs. But you could also look outside. I know Melissa Santos from Lucha Underground was spotted backstage at Raw, and they're talking about bringing her in, and I'm not too sure how Lucha contracts work, you know, it's because TV's already taped for them for 3 seasons. It could be somebody outside outside the company as well being brought in. I know Thea Trinidad is engaged or dating Austin Aries, and she's been around the business before, you know. Who knows? Who knows? And what also annoys me about the injury angle is we've seen it before. Recently, NXT did it with their previously taped episode with Nia Jax and Bayley selling the worked injury. And, you know, this week we see today on TV we saw that she can't participate in TakeOver because of it. And from all I'm reading is she's fine. It was just a work, just like Finn Balor was a work when he was injured in his match that he lost the title to Samoa Joe. I don't understand the need for these worked injuries at all. Have a guy go over, have a guy win. It's not so hard. Just don't have him going over with a roll up, because I'll be pissed then too. I'll be pissed 20 times more than I am now. New Day defeated the Vaudevillains, successfully defending their WWE, and I didn't do the gyration, but defending their title against the Vaudevillains, and this was a really good match, and I really liked the fact that they made it look like the Vaudevillains set themselves up to win by knocking everyone out being alone with Xavier Woods in the middle in the ring. And I really like that they had Xavier Woods kick out from the finish, because the one thing that most people probably think is that Xavier Woods is the weakest link in New Day. That they always win except if Xavier Woods is involved in the match and he's the one that gets pinned, either in 6-man or tag team action. I like that they had him kicked out of the finisher, probably too soon to kick out of a finisher of a team that debuted less than a month ago. Or I'm sorry, a month and a half ago. But it was great that Xavier Woods did kick out, and he had some pretty good moves. The dive to the outside was great. And Big E's spear through the ropes to the outside, it's just ridiculous. I can't believe that guy does that, and I can't believe he doesn't get hurt doing it. Guy that size, going that fast, straight out to the outside, it's sick. But New Day did New Day stuff, even though they're in that babyface role. Kofi Kingston, they did the cheat to win thing, and fans were happy, and it was good. It's fun. It was a fun match. It was well worth it. Well worth watching it. And, it was pretty good. Just say that. I don't say that a lot, but that one was pretty good. Another really good match. The Intercontinental match, title match, the 4-way match. The tag team match was good, and it's hard to follow that, but these 4 guys, they followed it. They really did. And with the Indianapolis 500 just around the corner, dare I say, I think this match lapped the tag team match as well. The instant bell-ringing haluva kick on Kevin Owens really just got me out of the couch. I mean, I popped, because it was unexpected, and it was just awesome. It was like that time that John Cena fought DX in a triple threat match, and Shawn Michaels just super kicked Triple H right away. Like, you just weren't expecting it. And it was just great. And these guys are legitimate wrestlers. And before you say The Miz didn't belong in this match, he not only held his own, he was pretty friggin' good. And you can't look at parts of these matches and say, like, oh, well, if it wasn't The Miz, the match would have been better. It was great with those guys. I don't think it could have gotten better with anybody else in there. Spot fest and all, it was just great. And I particularly like indie type spot fest, and this one lived up to that moniker. It was really good. Really good. And The Miz deserved to be there, and he deserves to be champion. Duke and I said this on the GNWC podcast we do on the GNWC official channel, and you can check that out in the link below. The Miz is great with the Intercontinental title. People hate him, legit. So you want to get the title off of him. But he's also a good wrestler at the same time. Even though people don't really want to admit that. Like, The Miz being bad is like an old trope. It's an old meme. It doesn't exist anymore. He's really good. And this match, just the fact that he can hang with these guys and the people that hate The Miz, put these 3 guys so high up on the pedestal. The fact that he can hang with them really shows that. And I'm glad. I'm actually happy for him, because he had a bad run for a long time, and he was in mediocrity. So I'm glad he's back in the mix now, because it's where he belongs. People need to chase The Miz and have that sense of happiness when he finally loses the title. You know what I'm saying? So it was good. It was a great match, and yeah, I mean, could be match of the year. Who knows? But moving on, the Asylum match. Ambrose defeats Chris Jericho. Now, I'm an Ambrose fan. I'm a long-time Jericho fan. I didn't like when he came back a few times, especially with the short hair and the cocky attitude. I don't like that Jericho. I liked Crybaby Jericho. We got a little bit of a Crybaby Jericho in this match every time he tried to escape the cage. And what was better than the look on his face after Dean Ambrose littered the mat with thumbtacks? That's classic Jericho right there. Just the look on his face and him trying to get away. All things considered, though, except for the ending and the ridiculous bumps into the thumbtacks, I was really bored by this match. Really. I mean, Scared Jericho was cool and all that, but I felt like the extreme spots were wasted in this match, and here's an example of that. anytime someone climbed the cage to get a weapon, the other person would try to climb the other side to get another weapon. And meanwhile, the last four weapons they brought to the ring were already on the floor. It's like a video game. Like, once you drop the weapon, it blinks and disappears and you can't retrieve it again. And that's what the wrestlers acted like in this. They brought down the board with the barbed wire or the mop or whatever, the strap, nunchucks, and it was on if it touched the mat, if the wrestler let go of it, like, the rules were you couldn't pick it up again. And that just seems silly. It's like intelligence insulting, and I hate that in wrestling. But we got the thumbtack spot at the end, so it was pretty sick. And you know, you always have that person that goes, well, those aren't real thumbtacks. It's like, well, then why is he bleeding so bad? Why are there spots of blood all over him? Why are there things sticking in his arm? Oh, because he's sweating. And that's a legit conversation I had, by the way. Now, were they all thumbtacks? I don't know. You know, but enough of them were thumbtacks. They could have been thumbtacks with the point snapped off, but why even bother at that point? If you're going to have half of them go into your body, might as just, well, make all of them go into your body, because I'm sure the pain and the shock from it are just, it's the same whether it's one thumbtack or if it's 40. You're just, you know, whatever. And this is from a guy who steps on a Lego and I'm, you know, I call him sick to work the next day. So that's a thing. That actually happened one time. I really cut my foot bad on the Lego and I couldn't step on it. So I had to call in sick to work. So that was legit, just in case my boss from 16 years ago is listening to this right now. So we'll see. I'm very upset that my smart logic here didn't pan out. They made a deal about Dean Ambrose creating this match. And the initial thought I had was, well, Jericho will beat Dean Ambrose in the match he created. And then Ambrose will just win Money in the Bank in the match Jericho created. And I thought that would have been awesome. Jericho and Ambrose qualified for Money in the Bank, by the way. So there's still a chance that Ambrose can win the match he created and win the match Jericho created, and the feud can continue on. But Jericho can also, but they might not even play that angle anymore because it just defies logic at this point. But it would have been fun. It would have been nice. It would have been fitting. It really would have. I thought I was pretty smart when I came up with that, but like everything I come up with, taking a shot, reaching out there, grabbing it, grasping at straws, checking my Vince Russo handbooks, they almost always don't happen. So we'll move on from there. Charlotte defeated Natalya yet again, 3 pay-per-views out of 4 for the championship. Ric Flair did not interfere, but Ric Flair's music caused Natalya to get distracted while somebody dressed up as Ric Flair came out to the ring. Now, if you say referee Charles Robinson, you're wrong. Which was what I thought. Until the person turned around and it was Dana friggin' Brooke. Now, I'm pissed. And here's why. For the, 4th time in this recap? I love Dana Brooke. I think she's great. I think her match with Asuka set her bar high because of all the transitioning and quickness that Asuka had. Dana Brooke hung in there, and chain wrestling is one of the fundamentals of wrestling. If you were ever in a wrestling school or around people who were in wrestling schools, and Jericho went through this too with Mikey Whipwreck and Paul Loria, and I'm name dropping indie guys from like local areas with Paul Loria and Mike Norman and stuff like that. But in Long Island, with the New York Wrestling Connection, that's like the roots of that school, which is the school that Noelle Foley's training in, by the way, too, for that Holy Foley show. But the NYWC roots go back to like Whipwreck and Loria and Jericho in ECW, practicing by just putting somebody in a hold and then somebody else picks another hold out of the hat, and you got to transition to that hold from the hold you're in. So it's like it's like basic fundamental training for people to get comfortable with transitions and stuff. And Dana Brooke did all of that against Asuka. So Dana Brooke, and her hair is phenomenal too. Very high in my book. Gets the lackey role with Emma. Well, had the lackey role with Emma from that Asuka match anyway. Emma gets hurt. Dana Brooke looks like a star against Becky Lynch in 2 consecutive matches. And then now she's relegated back to sidekick with Charlotte. And then with the shenanigans that happened on Raw, with Charlotte kicking out, sending Ric Flair packing because he was never there for her as a child, typical father-son, father-daughter wrestling storyline. Now it's Dana Brooke in the Ric Flair role for Charlotte and not in her own role, and I hate that. I really do, because I really wanted to see an women's storyline and a B women's storyline. A storyline has the championship involved. The B storyline is just additional matches for Raw and SmackDown with a hint of story behind it. And with a brand split coming, if Dana Brooke is married to Charlotte everywhere she goes, that's even more depressing that she's not going to get that stage to shine on her own. But maybe people don't see her as on her own platform and they think she's better off in a role. What do I know? I'm just a dude that loves her hair. That's all it is to it. But Charlotte wins, and we go forward with Dana Brooke at her side. And now we bring up the next flavor of the month diva, as I used to call him, for another feud into the next pay-per-view before another diva, just keep cycling them through because there's only one spot for them on the card, unfortunately. In the main event, Roman Reigns defeated AJ Styles. Now, I said before that the tag team match for the titles was great. The Intercontinental 4-Way lapped that. I might even dare to say that Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles even lapped that. Because, here's why. I did not expect a Reigns match. I did not expect to be so much into a Reigns match as I was. And it was not just because of AJ Styles, but Roman Reigns really did the job as well. It was a great, great match. Roman Reigns proved he can wrestle. So poo-poo on you, good sirs, for chanting you can't wrestle. I thought he looked great in this match. AJ looked great as always. The run-ins were nicely done. I'm trying not to say phenomenal, and I'm going to say it, so I apologize in advance. But the run-ins were great, and both of the individuals in the match were assisted equally and in great spots. The one time AJ had the match won and one of the Usos just grabbed his leg a little bit, keeping him from getting into the ring right away. That was well done. The Andersons and Gallo taking out Reigns. We've seen it before and we knew we were going to see it again. But Roman's spear on AJ Styles to end the match as AJ was going for the phenomenal forearm, man, that spear was great. And Roman Reigns has a great upward spear motion because you remember that time he speared Bray Wyatt from out of the crowd and into the announce table? He had a spear up and then drive him down into the announce table. Roman Reigns is legit. He really is. I'm into him a little bit more now because of this match. I don't like how all his matches kind of fit the same template in the whole, Samoan drop, Superman punch, spear, that whole, menu of moves he does from top to bottom. This one broke the mold a little bit, and thoroughly impressed. It was very good. I wouldn't. I would watch this match again, absolutely. And it's going to be very hard for Roman Reigns' next match to top it. Now, at the conclusion of this match, we had the captain, Seth Rollins, come in to say welcome back and take care of business. He greeted Roman Reigns with a nice little pedigree, pandered a little bit for the crowd, grabbed the title, held it up, and the show went off the air. So welcome back, Seth. And you watched Raw, he's back, and what's going to go on. Him versus Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank. So let's talk about Money in the Bank a little bit while we end this show, this little recording. What do we expect from it? Well, we know we're going to have the main event is going to be Rollins versus Reigns. It might be too soon for Rollins to win. Might be too soon for Reigns to lose. But with the brand split coming, who knows at this point? This title can drop and then... Or Roman can win the other one, or Seth can lose this one but be awarded the other one on the other show. It all depends on who goes where and who's in charge where. Stephanie seemed to cut ties with Rollins, being as tight as they were back in the day. So it's not like Stephanie is going to just award him the title for whatever show she's running, if it's the one with the vacant title. And we don't even know if there's going to be 2 belts on the brand split. Who knows? But the Money in the Bank match itself, well, we already know that Cesaro, Jericho, Ambrose, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn are all in it. I have to double check on that. I don't know. I forget. Yeah, I think it was because I think it was a pairing of feuding guys. So I think it was Zayn and Owens, Jericho and Ambrose, and then Cesaro beat The Miz to get into the match. So yeah, because Zayn beat Sheamus, and then Sheamus threw a tantrum. So that's 5 out of the 7 guys that are going to be in the match, or is it 5 out of 6? I don't even know at this point, because I'm trying to avoid the spoilers from SmackDown. I know one person on SmackDown won a match, and that, in my estimation, like in the movie Clue, it's 1 + 1 + 2 + 1. I feel like there's going to be another guy that's going to be in the match, and it might be somebody returning. It might be Randy Orton or Bray Wyatt, or I think Neville's even on his way back. So it could be any one of those guys. Or it can be guys we haven't seen, or it can be guys that who even lost and somehow weaseled their way in. So we'll talk more about that coming up on the GNWC Weekly show on the GNWC official channel. Again, the link's below. We'll record it after SmackDown, and it will be up sometime Friday, early Saturday for everybody. So I hope you enjoyed Extreme Rules. To me, it was a great show. I give it a solid B+. I was thoroughly entertained. A couple things that really annoyed me that I talked about, but other than that, what was I going to expect? I think this exceeded everything I was going to expect. So it was a fun show. So I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll see you on the GNWC official channel. Get off my computer.